Good evening, good day to all of you friends, and thank you so much for joining us today on our webinar on Sirius and its importance in the spiritual life of our planet. Before we start, let us do a very short visualization to enter into the blue disk where Master DK resides. So let's link up as a group and raise your consciousness as high as you possibly can. Endeavor then to hold steady, holding the mind unwaveringly in the group light. And realize that on DK's side, he's also standing steady, pouring out upon us his love and strength, and endeavoring to lift us up into a higher state of consciousness. And visualize ahead of us a disk or sphere of indigo blue, a deep indigo blue, electric blue. Imagine DK standing in the center of that disk, waiting. And then see a band of golden light between us and the disk, gradually shortening, thus bringing us closer together, slowly and steadily, until we enter into the heart of the blue disk. And let us sound a blue Om together as we make our approach to Master DK. Om. Friends, this is the topics that we will be discussing today, so you can peruse them at your leisure later on. Now, while the topic of our presentation today is focused on Sirius, we need to bear in mind that there are three basic energies coming from the three major conditioning constellations of the Great Bear, from Sirius, and from the Pleiades, which flow into our solar system and which act as one. These three basic energies affect our planetary life. They control and energize our solar system and pour through our three major planetary centers on Earth: Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity, and potently affecting all four kingdoms. Now, we are told that the effect of these three great constellations cannot be noted by the individual man until such time as he becomes conscious of the monadic vibration, that is, after the third initiation. And so the influence of Sirius is not consciously felt by us until after the third initiation, when the true nature of the spirit aspect begins to dawn upon the liberated, intuitive perception of the initiate. But we can at least understand these energies theoretically, intellectually. So the star Sirius is located in the constellation of Canis Major. According to science, it is very bright, as it's about 25 times more luminous than our sun. And it's only a mere 8.6 light years away from Earth. It is the brightest star visible from any part of the world, even though it's located in the southern hemisphere. In the secret doctrine, Sirius was called the dog star. It was the star of Mercury, or Buddha, and it was called the great instructor of mankind. It's also commonly known as the dog star because it is the brightest star in the constellation Canis Major, which means the big dog or the greater dog in Latin. And the old commentary refers to Sirius as the radiant sun of suns, a bright sun where shines the light of love. The name Sirius itself means searing or scorching in Greek. Sirius is called the scorcher because the power of love burns away all impurities and limitations of the lunar life. And in the words of Michael Robbins, this role of Sirius is related to the thought that our God is a consuming fire. God is love, and God is a consuming fire. This fire, energized by love, has burnt out all personality qualities, leaving only a purified instrument, colored by the soul ray and no longer necessitating the existence of a soul body. Our God is a consuming fire, as the divine, fiery nature of our solar logos emanates from Sirius, the soul of our solar logos. And we are told that there are 3 major groups of lives on Sirius, for there are there no kingdoms of nature, such as we possess. And these groups receive all those who choose the 4th path and train them in the mode of existence and the type of livingness which is found on Sirius. So this will make it plain to us that the least developed of the Syrian lives are, from our standpoint, all of them initiates of very high degree. Evil, as we understand it, has absolutely no place in Sirius. And evil being defined as simply the dominance of matter and the negation of spiritual values, or pure materialism and selfishness. So there is no evil on Sirius. Now let's discuss Sirius and cosmic love in our local universe. We are told that Gemini forms a point of entrance from cosmic energy from Sirius, making Gemini, therefore, one of the most important signs of the zodiac, as Gemini controls esoterically the heart of our solar system, and thus controls the pulsation of life which sustains all that is. Gemini is therefore connected with the heart of the sun, the love of the whole. And this cosmic energy is the source of Buddhi, of cosmic love, as the Syrian Logos is to our solar Logos what the human ego or the soul is to the personality. August, which is ruled by Leo, is the month of the dog star, or of Sirius, which thus brings Sirius into close relation to Leo. Leo, in the cosmic sense, and apart from our solar system altogether, is ruled by Sirius. The influences of Sirius are focused in Regulus, which is a star of the first magnitude and which is frequently called the heart of the lion. Regulus is the brightest star in the constellation Leo and is also one of the brightest stars in the night sky. Leo is ruled by the sun, Ray 2, which rules the heart, and the heart transmits the ray of love and wisdom. The sun in Leo rules both the personality and the soul. The exceedingly bright star, one of the 4 royal stars, is Regulus, the ruler, the lawgiver, holding in its significance the thought that man can now be a law unto himself, for he has that within him which is the king or the ruler. And the word Regulus comes from the Latin rex, meaning king or ruler. At first, the coordinated, self-assertive, totalitarian, and powerful roaring lion, which creates havoc and sows fear in those around him, is the dominant personality. But in time, the king of beasts is crucified and defeated by the real beneficent king within, the loving soul. So cosmic love flows from Sirius to Leo, the heart of the lion, and to our solar system. And our sun is the triple ruler of Leo, as it rules Leo both exoterically, that is, on the personality level, and esoterically, on the soul level, as well as hierarchically, that is, on the monadic level. Our sun is the embodiment of the heart, of the love aspect, of the Logos, who is himself the heart of the one about whom naught may be said, that is, our cosmic Logos in our local universe. And the evolution of the sun, or the cosmic incarnation of the Christ, that is the evolution of the soul, of the second aspect of divinity, is of immense importance in the plans of the being greater than the solar Logos, that is he about whom naught may be said, that is in the plan of our local cosmic Logos. The animating principles of allied constellations and systems watch the progress of the evolution of the sun, that is, of the soul, of the second aspect, with keenest attention. And what about Sirius and Earth? Well, Decay tells us it might be considered by those with a sound sense of occult proportion that our tiny planet, with its planetary Logos, one of the imperfect gods of the sacred doctrine, would be too small to enter into the slightest way into the consciousness of that supreme illumined entity who is greater even than our solar Logos. Such, however, Decay tells us, is the case. There is a relationship of very ancient date between our Lord of the world, Sanat Kumara, and the Lord of Sirius. And this exists in spite of the fact that our planet is not a sacred planet. But it might be added that our planet is, in the immediate cycle, rapidly passing out of this category, that is, of being a non-sacred planet. And on the inner planes, and subjectively considered, is a sacred planet. The effects of this transition from non-sacred to sacred have not fully demonstrated themselves objectively, that is, in the phenomenal world, in the material world. the mystery of this relationship is partially revealed at one of the higher initiations. So we won't know it until we get there. The recipients of this impression, that is, from members of the Great White Lodge on Sirius, are the highest members of the Great Council presided over by the Lord of the world, that is, in Shambhala. Now, so subtle is this impression, we are told, that these great lives can only receive it with accuracy when in full joint conference of the entire council, and also after due preparation. In fact, we are told that a stream of energy coming from the sun Sirius enters directly into hierarchy, the heart center of our planetary logos, and carries with it the principle of Buddhi, of cosmic love. This, in a mysterious way, is the principle found at the heart of every atom. The energy evoked in response to this relationship enters the hierarchy via the heart of the sun, creating as a consequence a triangle of spiritual energy of enormous potency. So we have therefore Sirius, the heart of the sun, and our hierarchy, the heart center of our planetary logos. Now let's explore Sirius and the principle of manas, that is knowledge or intelligence. Manas is derived from the Sanskrit root word man, which means to think, to cogitate, to reflect. And the noun man is connected to the root word men, meaning to think, which would make the ground sense of men one who has intelligence. So in the ageless wisdom, friends, we need therefore to interpret and to respect DK's use of the word men or men in plural, depending on the context, which is generally referred in its original meaning as a thinking entity, and not to its secondary meaning as the male gender. This is our lower mind that interprets it that way. But DK interprets it in the original meaning as the thinking entity. So we need to remember that. So manas might finally be defined as the intelligent will and ordered purpose of every self-conscious entity. So therefore, manas is a prerogative of conscious, self-conscious entities. Therefore, that excludes the three lower kingdoms. Although manas has been defined as mind, or that faculty of logical deduction and reasoning and of rational activity that distinguishes man from the animals, yet it is something much more than that, for it underlies all manifestation, and the very shape of an amoeba and the discriminative faculty of the lowest atom or cell is actuated by mind of some kind or another. It is the fire of divine impulse, permeating all forms and driving those forms to certain activity and achievement. So really, manas is will working itself out on the physical plane. And we have to remind ourselves that in the very first solar system, the center, which is humanity, was prepared, and the principle of intelligence came into manifestation. In that system, intelligence was unfolded and was retained within substance in order to form the basis of the evolutionary development of this, the second solar system. But the origin of manas is the active will, intelligently applied, of an entity, and that this active, intelligent will affects all lesser lives in cyclic evolution within the body of that particularly actively willing existence. And this is true of all beings from the Logos downwards. Manas, as we already know, is the fifth principle. And this fifth principle embodies the basic vibration of the fifth plane, either cosmically or systemically considered. So if we look at our diagram here, we will see that this great sun on his cosmic monadic plane, way up there, Sirius is to our solar logos what the monad is to the spiritual man. And DK also mentions that the system of the Syrian logos is on the cosmic mental plane. So sometimes he refers to it as the monadic aspect of the solar logos. Other times it is the soul of our logos. So this is a mystery that we will not be able to fully comprehend at this stage. Certainly not by our lower mind. But the point is that the sun Sirius, whether it's the monad or the soul of our solar logos, is the source of logoic manas, that is, of the solar system, solar logos. The energy of thought or mind force in its totality reaches our solar system from a distant cosmic center via Sirius. So before he was telling us that it is logoic manas comes from Sirius, and now DK is going 1 point further and saying that it comes from a distant cosmic center. And Sirius acts as the transmitter or the focalizing center whence emanate those influences which produce self-consciousness in man. And the originating source of monastic activity in a solar system is that great cosmic entity who embodies our solar logos as a center in his body, along with 6 other solar logoi who are in their totality his 7 centers. So what he's really saying is the originating source of manas in our solar system is the one whom naught may be said. Again, he's the source of manas, but he's also the source of love. And the originating source of monastic activity in the planetary schemes, that is in our solar system, is the solar logos. He is the active, directing intelligence who is working with definite purpose through his 7 centers. So let's come down now. The sun Sirius influences our entire solar system psychically via the 3 synthesizing schemes: Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn. And Saturn in our solar system being the focal point for the transmission of cosmic manas to the 7 schemes, that is, to the 7 chakras of our solar logos. So it's Saturn who distributes manas in our solar system. And now, on Earth, the originating source of the monastic principle in a planetary scheme is that lesser cosmic entity whom we call a planetary logos, who works through his 7 chains as does the logos through his 7 planets. Now, Leo, in the cosmic sense, and as we saw earlier on, is ruled by Sirius. And the sun Sirius is the source of logoic manas. And manas is the 5th principle ruling the 5th mental plane. That is, therefore, Sirius also transmits ray 5 as well as cosmic love. And the influences of Sirius, that are 3 in number, are focused in Regulus, which is, as you know, a star of the 1st magnitude and called the heart of the lion. And in the words of Michael Robbins, these 3 influences correspond to will, love, and intelligence. They're also focused through the planets Uranus, Neptune, and Saturn, the 3 synthesizing planets in our solar system. So what is the mind aspect and why is it so important? It is in reality the ability or the capacity of the logoic existence to think, to act, to build, and to evolve in order to develop the faculty of active love. So, friends, this is a very, very important statement. Let's read that again, shall we? So that we can really digest it. The mind aspect is the ability or the capacity of the logoic existence, or the logos, to think, to act, to build, and to evolve in order to develop the faculty of active love. What DK really means by that is that through the mind, love is being revealed. Or to say it another way, Manas reveals love. Sirius and the law of freedom. Very important a principle, friends, particularly when it comes to our planetary logos. Let's explore that. This unique and mysterious law of freedom governs the life and the lives upon Sirius. Now, this divine principle represents an aspect of the influence which Sirius exerts on the whole of the solar system, and particularly on our planet, Earth. This law of freedom is the law of which the three cosmic laws, the laws of synthesis, the law of attraction, and the law of economy, are only aspects. None of these three subsidiary laws impose any rule or limitation upon Sanat Kumara, the Lord of the world. But the law of freedom does. It does impose certain restrictions on Sanat Kumara. So what is this mysterious law of freedom? We are told that it is the leavening energy which can permeate substance in a unique manner. And this principle of freedom is one of the attributes of deity, just like will, love, and mind, that enables the life or the spirit aspect to free itself from the impact, the contact, and the influence of substance. DK calls it the pulling away from form. And it is this principle of freedom which enables Sanat Kumara to dwell on earth and yet stands free from all contacts. So that law of freedom is really a non-identification with the form aspect. And we are told that Sanat Kumara, or the Lord of the world, is not identified with the Maya which he has created, and which has its purpose in eventually bringing about the release of the prisoners of the planet, that is, all the souls that are imprisoned in the tomb of matter. Now, to that Maya, he is supremely indifferent. And it is this divine indifference which has led to the great theological illusion of an anthropomorphic deity and to the belief in the East that our planet is but the background or the plaything of the gods. But far from it. This law of freedom is responsible for being known as the great sacrifice. For under the control of this law, our planetary logos has created our planetary life and all that is within and upon it, in order to learn to wield this law with full understanding, in full consciousness, and yet at the same time to bring release to the myriad forms of his creation. And let's recall that our solar logos and our planetary logos are polarized in their astral body. They are polarized on the cosmic astral plane, and so the effects of their life energy as it flows through the systemic heart can be seen in the activity of the astral plane. In fact, if we look at these cosmic planes, we see that our planetary logos is perfecting the control of the fourth subplane of the cosmic astral plane. And he has nearly completed it. Fourth subplane of the cosmic astral plane. He is beginning to work at the control of the fifth subplane, that is the third one here, a control which will be perfected in the next round, in the fifth round. He is also sensing and responding to the vibration of the sixth subplane or the second subplane, but is not as yet fully conscious on that subplane. So what is this divine indifference? It is the achieving of a neutral attitude towards that which is regarded as the non-self. So in other words, it is not being identified in consciousness with the form aspect, basically. So all disciples, we are told, all of us need to acquire that divine indifference, which leaves the soul free to serve, untrammeled by personality reactions. For that is what all solar plexus conditions basically are. So as above, so below. In actual fact, being a cell in the body of the one in whom we move and have our being, that is on earth, in the body of our planetary logos, is also the goal for all humanity, eventually, and tread the fourth path to Sirius. We are told that the majority of the liberated humanity, and therefore a large number of the initiates who have to make decision, that is the sixth initiation, choose that fourth path to the cosmic center, Sirius. So, what does that mean? It just means that, just like the lesson that our planetary logos is learning on Earth, not to be identified by matter or to be affected by matter. We too, we have to learn that lesson, because eventually we will be making our way back home on Sirius, where there is no evil, if you remember. Evil meaning influence of matter, or being affected by matter. And we see that in the esoteric healing, law 9, the law of perfection, which states that perfection calls imperfection to the surface. Good drives evil from the form of man in time and space. The method used by the perfect one, the Christ, who is a Syrian initiate, and that employed by good, meaning the planetary logos, the method is perfect harmlessness. Now, we are told that this is not negativity, but perfect poise, a completed point of view, and divine understanding. Hierarchy too uses this method, harmlessness, which is based on complete self-sacrifice, wherein the will to sacrifice, the will to good, and the will to power, which are three phases of the will aspect as expressed through the spiritual triad, are all fused in one dynamic energy of a deeply spiritual nature. It is not the harmlessness enjoined so often by DK when he speaks to aspirants, but it is a harmlessness imposed by the spiritual man. Note the words, by the spiritual man and by his natural destiny. It is an ignoring of the effect or the result upon the form nature. And harmlessness is the outstanding quality of every son of God, that is, of every soul. So what DK is really saying to us here is that we have to identify with the soul and not with the form nature. And that is the scientific method of harmlessness and of divine indifference. That is identification with the soul and not with the form nature. And in this law, there are three basic requirements for the initiates of the third degree and for the disciple to achieve freedom from the lure of matter. So let's have a quick look at the first one. Perfect poise. For the higher initiate, that refers to the ability to function freely on the Buddhic levels, owing to complete liberation from all the influences and impulses coming from the three worlds. That is, it refers to the adaptability of the rhythm of the spiritual triad. And what does perfect poise mean for the disciple? It is the complete control of the astral body, so that emotional upheaval are overcome, or at least are greatly minimized. and that refers to the effects or the non-effects of the three worlds brought about by the practice of divine indifference and of astral pull and astral pulls die of attrition. Now, the second requirement is the completed point of view. What does that mean for the higher initiate? That refers to the universal outlook of the monad. It refers to detachment and discrimination when expressed on way of the higher evolution, then become abstraction and the will to good. And for the disciple, it refers to the function of the soul as the observer in the three worlds. It is brought about by the development of detachment and discrimination. And the third one, divine understanding, for the higher initiates, that's the identification which supersedes the individualistic consciousness. All barriers have gone. The initiate sees things as they are. He knows the causes of which all phenomena are the ephemeral effects, consequently enabling him to understand the purpose as it emanates from Shambhala. So that is identification then with the purpose and the will of the Logos. And what does that mean for what does divine understanding stand for the disciple? It indicates a mind which can be held steady in the light and can therefore reflect the pure reason, pure love, which qualifies the reflection of the soul on its own plane. So this is the understanding of the plan as it's formulated by hierarchy. So here's the advice given in Law 9 of esoteric healing. So DK give us an advice, and that applies to all of us. It will therefore be apparent how these three divine requirements, when stepped down for the use of the disciple in the modern world, indicate a line of training or of self-discipline to which all should apply themselves. So we've got our work cut out for us. And this is an adaptation of a mantra which was given to CDP. And I've added the last three words at the end. You know, in your meditation, you can do that. I've been doing it for years as well. At the center of all love, I stand. Naught can touch me here. From that center, I shall go forth to love and serve with self-forgetfulness, harmlessness, and non-criticism. Actually, you can change this and put whatever quality that you like. And DK does tell us that the most potent force in the world today is harmlessness. And the Christ embodied that method to the fullest. So let's reiterate, because this is such an important point regarding Sirius and our Earth, and which means that it affects us and we can apply it as well to our own lives. Our planetary logos is under the control of the law of freedom, which is a unique and mysterious law which governs the life and the lives upon Sirius. And not only does our logos being under the control of this law, and so are we as well, as above, so below. And that enables the life or the spirit aspect to free itself from the impact, the contact, and the influence of substance. In other words, we do not identify with a form nature, but we identify with a soul. It is the principle of freedom which enables Sanat Kumara, therefore, to dwell on earth and yet stand free from all contacts. In other words, he's no longer affected by the contact of matter. He, meaning the planetary logos, may learn the meaning of systemic dispassion, be dissociated from all forms and material substance, and upon the cross of matter eventually find liberation and the freedom of the spirit. Harmlessness is the key to the release of the lower nature from the grip of the world illusion and from the power of phenomenal existence, or matter, in other words. The three lower worlds. Hence, now we understand what DK meant when he said that evil has absolutely no place on Sirius, because evil is being defined as the dominance of matter and the negation of spiritual values. And now let's explore the connection between Sirius and Uranus. We are told in esoteric astrology that the second ray of love and wisdom flows from the cosmic center, Sirius, to the zodiacal constellation, Pisces, and into our solar system to Uranus, and from Uranus then to our hierarchy on Earth, which is the planetary center of our logos on Earth, then to the disciples' heart center, the solar angels, and then to the solar plexus of the disciple. Uranus, the seventh, who transmits ray 7, is today the transmitter of the Sirian force. And Uranus is the embodiment of the principle of concretion and the materializing of that which is in need of objective manifestation through the bringing together of spirit and matter. So then, what does Uranus, as transmitter of ray 7 and of the cosmic Sirian force, what does it materialize then? None other than the energy of the soul, the second aspect of divinity. So the combination of the influences of Sirius, Leo, and Uranus has been much needed at this time to foster and bring about those conditions which will enable mankind, under the steady influence of hierarchy, to take the first initiation, to give birth to the Christ consciousness, thus revealing and bringing to the light of day the hidden and inner spiritual man. And humanity has been going through its first initiation for years now, and it's still going. It's still undergoing the first initiation. It doesn't happen just overnight. It happens over years and years, and it's been close to 80 years to 100 years. And the emphasis in the Aquarian age will be on life and freedom from the tomb of matter. In other words, Uranus will be bringing that principle of freedom, because it is the planet of freedom, as it transmits that Sirian force, or the principle of freedom. So Uranus in the Aquarian age will help in this non-identification with the form, but instead with the identification with life, the spirit aspect, or the soul. Humanity is struggling to express the higher and better qualities, and to free itself from the thraldom of ancient evil, the slavery of ancient codes, and the curse of ancient habits of thoughts and living. And Dike reassures us that the human consciousness is rapidly awakening from its long sleep. And the Aquarian age will be bringing about the birth of the solar kingdom, that is the kingdom of souls, which will materialize on earth. Sirius now and the law of karma. There is an intermediate law, which is the synthetic law of the system of Sirius. And this law is called the law of karma, and really predicates the effect of the Sirian system has on our solar system. We have then the great law of Sirius, the law of karma, on the third subplane of the cosmic mental plane, which law really controls our solar logos and his actions in the same way as the soul on the higher mental plane in the course of evolution controls the human personality. The lords of karma on our system, solar system, are under the rule of a greater lord of karma on Sirius. We are governed by the Sirian Lord of Karma. That is our planetary logos, and we, in the body in whom we live and move and have our being, are also under the Sirian law of Karma. We have practically no effect on our parent system, that is, the Sirian system. The reflex action is so slight as to be negligible, but very definite effects are felt in our solar system through causes arising in Sirius. And these causes, when experienced as effects, are called by us the law of karma. The Lipika lords of our system, the systemic lords of karma, are under the rule of a greater corresponding lord on Sirius. And the lords of karma, or the Maharajas, work with the sons of men in the three worlds and through the monastic principle. Saturn is one of the most potent of the four lords of karma and forces men, therefore, to face up to the past and in the present to prepare for the future. Such is the intention and the purpose of karmic opportunity. So in our chart, friends, when we look at karma, when we look at Saturn, then we know that that's where we made a mistake. That's where mistakes were made in past lives. And we are, in this lifetime, redressing these mistakes in our consciousness. In other words, that's where our consciousness needs to be changed, to be transformed. So look in your natal chart, locate Saturn. And the house that Saturn will be will tell you in which area of your life that you need to start transforming your consciousness, changing your consciousness. The Lord of the world, Sanat Kumara, decided to create this planet of ours for strictly redemptive purposes. And Sanat Kumara is the divine prisoner of this planet, held here until the last weary pilgrim has found his way home. And this is his heavy karma, making him the prototype of all world saviors. And these lords of karma from Sirius work on our systemic astral plane through a group of devas who are the sum total of the astral light. They are the agents of the cosmic lords, who are in themselves deva entities of an inconceivably advanced evolution, and who, in their own substance, record, they produce effects from cause, and they direct force. And note where they are on our systemic astral plane. So Sirius, Kamamanas, and the cosmic astral plane and our systemic astral plane make a very close interlocking chain. So in other words, like we were saying earlier on regarding the law 9, we need to control our astral body. That is, not allowing the emotions or that aspect of our form nature to affect us. This is where we build karma. We bring about bad karma, and that's where we need to change and transform our consciousness and forgive and love. Now let's explore Sirius, hierarchy, and our planetary life. So earlier on, we made two very important points. First, that Sirius has a very close relationship with our planetary logos. So therefore, making Sirius a very important factor in the spiritual life of our planet. And for us as well, as I said, as above, so below. So Sirius is also a very important factor in our lives, even though we don't feel, we can't sense it yet. We will sense it after the third initiation, but at least we are making the effort to understand the nature of this radiant sun. And secondly, we also saw that a stream of energy coming from the sun, Sirius, enters directly into hierarchy, which is the heart of our soul, of our planetary logos, and carries with it the principle of Buddhi and of cosmic love. As energy from Sirius does not normally enter our planetary life via Shambhala, it bypasses Shambhala, but goes straight into his heart center, hierarchy. So the entire work of the Great White Lodge is controlled from Sirius, we are told. And the energies coming from the sun Sirius are related to the love wisdom aspect, or to the attractive power of the solar logos, the soul of that great being. So this cosmic soul energy is therefore related to our hierarchy. That is cosmic love emanating from the great sun Sirius, the soul of our solar logos, flows through the logoic 12-petal heart, that is the heart center of the cosmic logos, the one whom naught may be said, and through the planetary 12-petaled heart of our planetary logos, hierarchy. Then to our solar angels on the higher subplanes of the mental plane. And these angels are linked to the heart of the solar logos through their symbol of 12-petaled lotus, which reveals their true characteristics. That is, they are the transmitters of cosmic love. These great redeeming angels, we are told, the unit of the fifth hierarchy, are called the hearts of fiery love. They save through love, and in their turn, these lives are peculiarly close to the great heart of love of the solar logos. And the sign Leo is a fire sign, and it is the preeminent fire sign at this time. The sons of mind, the self-conscious sons of God, are above everything else, the sons of fire. For our God is a consuming fire. There is in them that peculiar quality which can burn and destroy, and so eradicate all that hinders their essentially divine expression. And Leo rules the hierarchy on the logoic plane of that hierarchy called the divine flames or the divine lives. So what is the origin of these solar angels, or the Agnishvatas, as they are also called? They are the self-conscious principles. They are the builders of our soul, of our egoic body on the higher mental plane. And they themselves originate from the logoic middle principle, that is, from the soul of our solar logos. Let's really digest that thought, friends, because it is an awesome, awesome thought that our solar angels come from the soul of our solar logos. And that's not all. That's not all. Since we know that cosmic love flows from the cosmic sun of suns, Sirius, into our solar system, and that during Pralaya, they, the solar angels, the Agnishvatas, are withdrawn, as everything else, from manifestation. They return to a cosmic center. So we can safely speculate that this cosmic center is Sirius, seeing that Sirius is the soul of our solar logos. The entire work of the Great White Lodge is controlled from Sirius. The ashrams are subjected to its cyclic inflow. The higher initiations are taken under its stimulation. For the principle of buddhi, of pure love, that is love wisdom, must be active in the heart of every initiate prior to the initiation of the great decision, that is the sixth initiation. It is therefore only initiates of the fifth, the sixth, and the higher initiations who can work consciously with a potent Buddhic livingness, which permeates all ashrams, even though it's not recognized by the average disciple. But behind hierarchy is the energy of Sirius, of cosmic love. The energy of Sirius is focused in our hierarchy. Its effect is not felt until after the third initiation, though we are told that the masters use the Sirian energy whilst training disciples for the second, the fourth, and the sixth initiation. Sirius is the home of that greater lodge to which our fifth initiation admits a man, and to which it brings him as a humble disciple. So we know that our Master DK is a fifth degree initiate. So on Sirius, Master DK would be a very humble disciple. That shows you how potent and high energy is that energy of love from Sirius. Now, the sun Sirius is closely related to our planetary life, as we've learned. Not much was known in hierarchy regarding this connection, but the Syrian influence was not recognized, and little of it was definitely focused in hierarchy until Christ came and revealed the love of God to humanity, because Christ is a Syrian initiate. He is the expression par excellence of a Syrian initiation, and it is to this high place that he will eventually go, no matter what duties or hierarchical obligations may take him elsewhere between that time and now. Eventually, he will go home to Sirius. And the majority of liberated humanity, as we said earlier on, and therefore a large number of the initiates of the sixth degree, choose this way. That is the fourth path to this cosmic center, Sirius. And to become a candidate in that lodge, the initiate of the third degree has to become a lowly aspirant, with all the true and full initiations awaiting him within the sunshine of the major sun. So this is what we have to look forward to going home on Sirius. This is eventually going to be our home for the bulk of us. So as we saw earlier on, Sirius is called the great star, of initiation, because our hierarchy, an expression of the second aspect of divinity, is under the supervision or spiritual magnetic control of the hierarchy of Sirius. And what does the Aegis Wisdom, how does the Aegis Wisdom define initiation? If Sirius is the star of initiation, what do we understand by initiation? It is, first of all, the entering into a new and wider dimensional world by the expansion of a man's consciousness. So basically, initiation is expansion of consciousness, so that he can include and encompass that which he now excludes, and from which he normally separates himself in his thinking and acts. So initiation is the expansion of our consciousness. And it is secondly, and it's a very important statement here, it is secondly the entering into man of those energies that are distinctive of the soul and of the soul alone. That is the forces of intelligent love and of spiritual will. So basically, it's an expansion into the soul realm. It is when we are initiated, it means that our consciousness has been transformed to a certain degree. The heart center, which is the organ for the distribution of hierarchical energy, is poured out via the soul into the heart center of all aspirants, disciples, and initiates. And as the Bible says, the love of God is shed abroad in the human heart, and its transforming, magnetic, and radiatory power is essential for the reconstruction of the world and for the establishment of the new world order. So which means that hierarchy, who receives the Syrian force directly, pours out then Syrian love into the heart center of all aspirants, disciples, or initiates. It is that center, that is the heart center, therefore in the physical body, through which the hierarchy works. It is the agent of the soul. And DK tells us that when I use the word soul, I refer not only to the individual soul of man, but to the soul also of the planetary logos, both of which are the results of the union of spirit and matter, of the father aspect and the mother aspect. And the heart center registers the energy of love. And when the Antikarana has been constructed finally, the heart center then becomes the agent for spiritual love, or buddhi, cosmic love. Then hierarchy and the solar angels, the hearts of fiery love, would have accomplished their work, expanded Syrian love, the principle of buddhi, the principle found at the heart of every atom, and transmuted every cell in his body in a sphere of radiant glory, a blaze of fire and light, and a source of magnetic radiation. Then the soul in the heavens shine forth. The divine plan will thus be restored on earth. Then the next solar system will start with a threefold spirit manifesting through substance, which is essentially distinguished by active, intelligent love. This is the goal of this second solar system, is to infuse and unfold love to such an extent that the matter, that third aspect, becomes so soul infused that it will then reveal spirit, or the will aspect. Sirius is esoterically called the brilliant star of sensitivity, and Scorpio is under the influence of Sirius. And Sirius, the star of sensitivity, governs hierarchy. And Scorpio is the great constellation which influences the turning point in the life of humanity and the life of the individual human being. As you know, Scorpio rules the fourth Buddhic plane. It is responsible for transforming human into solar matter. For the first time in the history of both mankind and disciples, the energy of Sirius pouring into the 7 groups which form our planetary hierarchy evokes a response. So Scorpio is doing a great job at transforming man's consciousness. And throughout the universe, it is the soul which is the conscious, sensitive theme of the divine plan. The soul as the animal soul, the soul as the human soul, and the soul as the ego, the spiritual soul, on its own plane. So behind it all, behind this sensitive theme of the unfolding of the soul in the divine plan, stands Sirius. In our solar system, on our Earth in particular, and in the body of the one whom naught may be said, our cosmic universe. This is why DK says throughout the universe, in our local universe, in the body of the one whom naught may be said. And there are 4 interlocking triangles that are potently affecting every kingdom in nature. The cosmic triangle, the Great Bear, Sirius, and the Pleiades pour 3 streams of energy into the zodiacal triangle, Leo, Pisces, and Capricorn. And the systemic Saturn, Uranus, and Mercury triangle vitalizes the planetary triangle, Shambhala, hierarchy, and humanity, stimulating humanity, who is the macrocosm of the lower kingdoms, therefore potently affecting every kingdom in nature. So one more time, let's reiterate that behind man's first initiation lies the subtle influence of Sirius, where the combination of the influences of Sirius, Leo and Uranus have been much needed at this time to foster and bring about these conditions which will enable mankind, under the steady influence of hierarchy ruled by Sirius, to take the first initiation, to give birth to the Christ, that is, to establish the kingdom of souls on earth, thus revealing and bringing to the light of day the inner, hidden spiritual man. It is in Leo that man undergoes the preparatory stages of this first initiation, because Leo is the sign of self-consciousness. So he finds himself and becomes self-conscious. Then he arrives at the stage of intelligent discipleship. And finally, he stands ready for the ordeal and the accolade of fire preceding the first initiation. And that at this final stage, humanity stands today. As I said to you, it's been going on. Humanity has been undergoing its first initiation for over 80 years now, close to 100 years. So when, as it is now the case, the influence of Uranus is added to the other influences, and the seventh ray is at the same time entering into a major cycle of activity on Earth, there is then present the energy needed to precipitate the crisis of initiation and produce a great rhythmic awakening. And as you know, we've just said that earlier on, the seventh ray brings matter and spirit together and precipitates, will precipitate the Christ principle that is the soul. Later, when the New World religion is founded and is working, we shall find that the major monthly festival in August, held at the time of the full moon, will be dedicated to the task of making contact via hierarchy with Syrian force. And we are already well on our way to be doing that now. The radiant sun of suns, the bright sun where shines the light of love. So these energies coming from this radiant sun of suns, or the bright sun, are related to the love aspect and to the attractive power of the solar logos to the soul of that great being, as we said earlier on. So this cosmic soul energy is related to hierarchy. So then what about Sirius, Buddhi, and healing? What's the connection between them all? And as you know, the heart center here, right, is the recipient, is the distributor of Buddhi. As we said earlier on, a stream of energy coming from Sirius enters directly into hierarchy and carries with it the principle of Buddhi and of cosmic love and freedom, the principle of freedom. And this cosmic love is the principle which is found at the heart of every atom. Let's not forget that in every chakra, every minute chakra, every atom there is a nucleus, and within that nucleus is cosmic love. We really need to remember this arresting thought here. So then what is radiatory healing? The healing that we practice. It is soul healing, the highest form of healing, where pure soul energy is poured into the vehicles of the patient. It was in this way that Christ, the Syrian initiate, the embodiment of the cosmic ray of love and wisdom, worked. And that is the objective that we, the esoteric healing faculty at the Moria Federation, we keep firmly in mind. Because this force, the force of love, when rightly directed and properly controlled, is the great transmuting agency. We distribute love, cosmic love. So in healing, a loving heart is one of the most potent of all the energies employed. He, meaning the healer, will then become a channel for the light of the ego or the soul, and for the illumination of Buddhi to pour through for the saving of the race, and of the lighting of those who stumble in dark places. He must demonstrate the laws of radioactivity in his own life on the physical plane. His life must begin to radiate and to have a magnetic effect upon others. By this, decay means that he will begin, the healer, will begin to influence that which is imprisoned in others, that is the soul within others. For he will reach through his own powerful vibrations the hidden center in each one, that is the cosmic love. He's going to attract the cosmic love in each person that he contacts. And here decay refers to that spiritual radiation, that is only responded to and realized by those who themselves are becoming aware of the spiritual center within the heart, that is Buddhi within the heart, the cosmic love. And at this stage, the man is recognized as one who can occultly speak heart to heart. He becomes a stimulator of the heart center in his brother, and one who arouses men into activity for others. So we endeavor to be the distributing agents of the Syrian and hierarchical energy of love shed abroad in the human heart, for the reconstruction of the world and for the establishment of the new world order, and for the manifestation of a more definitely spiritual civilization. So before we close, friends, this is a little video of an actual, of the actual star, Sirius, which was taken with super sensitive cameras with no filters or Photoshop and to the sound of a sung mantra. It was shared by Dwayne Carpenter and sent to our Spanish group who shared it with us. So as we watch this, let's center on the vibration of the cosmic love, which we will then distribute after watching the video. Stunning, isn't it? When you realize that it is the actual star photographed and videoed. Awesome. So, whoops. Okay. So now let's distribute the Syrian energy of love as a group by visualizing the energy of unconditional love and the will to good emanating from the triangle Sirius, Leo, and our solar logos. Let's superimpose that on the emanating triangle made up of the avatar of synthesis, the spirit of peace, and the Lord Buddha, powering the Christ, the head of hierarchy, at the center. And let's superimpose this radiating triangle on another triangle consisting of the Christ, Master DK, and our soul group. Visualize all these triangles superimposed on top of each other, forming one triangle being blended and fused beautifully. Now let's superimpose it on our group chakric triangle made up of our group crown chakra, our group ajna, and our group alta major, as we step the energy of the will to good of Buddhi down onto the etheric plane. And now, via our group ajna right eye, left eye triangle, let's distribute this dispelling radiance, as Buddhi is called, and let's place it over the three planetary centers, London, Geneva, and New York. Let that Syrian love impress upon these three planetary chakras. And from these 3 points, see a wave of light of Buddhi radiating from these 3 points into the whole world, into the etheric body of humanity. Let us sound one Om, and let the sound of the Om carry the Syrian fiery love as we direct it via the 3 planetary chakras to the heart of humanity. Just say the healer's mantra, saying it slowly and deliberately as we know the results, not just believe in them, but know the results. May the love of the one soul focused in this group radiate upon you our fellow men, and permeate every part of your body, healing, soothing, strengthening, and dissipating all that hinders service and good health. And let us close with the great invocation which embody the will of our Logos. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth, and visualize a shaft of light as you sound a blue O. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth and see a stream of love pouring down on earth as you sound a blue om and direct that om to the heart of humanity. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. And again, see a stream of will to good pouring down on earth as we sound a blue om. From the center, which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. And now raise your clasp hands above the head and say, and so let it be. And help us to do our part. Then bring them down to your forehead and let them rest gently on your heart, and let that energy radiate out your immediate environment and beyond. Let it ripple out. Thank you, friends. I apologize for the length of this presentation, but there is so much to be said about Sirius, and I couldn't leave any of those important points. I couldn't leave them out because this is the only opportunity that we have to talk about Sirius. And so let's think about Sirius during the full moon of Leo, in the light of all the points from the Aegis Wisdom teachings. Thank you, friends, for being here today.
Thank you.